Hey, what's going on, people? This is Dave, and I am coming at you today to discuss the Senate Republicans renew their claims that Facebook, Google, and Twitter censor conservatives. It was a piece that has been circulating many different news sources today, April 10th, 2019. As many are currently aware, a lot of right-wing commentators or news sources have started to be ghosted all over the web, all over Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Fortunately, I'm not one of them because, as you can clearly see in my playlist, I don't really do this too often, so I don't make much noise. I mean, that's what's going on. Anyways, this op-ed is by Tony Rahm. States Republicans led by Senator Ted Cruz on Wednesday pillared Facebook, Google, and Twitter over allegations they censor conservative users and content online, threatening federal regulation in response to claims that Democrats long have described as a hoax and distraction. I don't believe it's a hoax. The main reason I do want to say, I know everybody jumps the horn on Alex Jones, but if you watch him, you watch him commentating. I mean, he's not all that viral video, that viral sensation, all that hoopla. He basically just reads other people's news reports and gives his opinion. And some of them are a little far-fetched. I mean, but in all honesty, some of them aren't. I know a lot of people to get wrong things being said. Sorry, I'm not wording this very well. I'm fairly new to doing things of this nature, but I want to kind of go back and talk about Alex Jones going through this lawsuit with Sandy Hook, yeah, and then being banned on all platforms for conspiracy theories. Then I want to kind of correlate that and make the correlation between the white kids wearing the MAGA hats in Washington, D.C. with the Native American, I don't know his first name, but the Phillips dude, banging the drum in the guy's face. You had almost every news outlet out there saying these white kids are antagonizing these Native Americans, these racist MAGA country-wearing folks are up in these Indians' or Native Americans' faces, mocking them. And come to find out, that was completely and utterly false narrative. That was a conspiracy theory, to say the least. But we still hear everywhere, all the time, about CNN, and they're pushing out what they want us to hear, their narrative. There's something recently that I was watching, and it was funny because Nancy Pelosi said, okay, we're over the Russia investigation, the Mueller report came out, everything's clear, now I want you guys to start talking about healthcare. And then it showed the segments from that whole day. Every anchor from Anderson Cooper then on was talking about healthcare and how Trump doesn't care. He wants to take away the health benefits of Obamacare, which, you know, to highlight the fact of the matter is, my family, we have not been able to afford Obamacare since Obamacare has come out. It hasn't helped us, so I don't, he's gonna take away everyone's health care. Everyone. Who's everyone? Because I know if I can't afford it, there's plenty of people in my position that are on that same I can't afford it streak. Alright, so yeah, let's get over that. Well, doesn't that mean you want the socialist system and healthcare for all? No, it doesn't mean that. There's certain things I want to see change. Definitely healthcare for all is not one of them. I don't want more government in my life, if that makes sense. I want government to stay out of my choices and out of my life. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have been seeing, and why things have been going the way they have been going, and the fact that people like you or I cannot afford healthcare. It's not because we need it to be free for everyone. It's because the government has stepped in and made choices for us that have made it where we cannot afford it. Our jobs are not willing to pay us. Not because of Trump. I mean, we've been poor before Trump. I was doing fairly well up until the Obama administration, I have to say. I was 19, 20 years old, 21, right before he became president, and I had money in my savings account as a 20-year-old man. Ever since he became president, my house has been falling apart, and I can't afford to fix it, and I don't have a savings. So there's a correlation there somewhere, and I've felt it. I mean, who really hasn't? But anyways, back onto the article. The tensions played out over more than 3 hours at a Senate hearing where Cruz, the leader of the Judiciary Committee's Constitution Force panel, pointed to reports that he said showed a consistent pattern of political bias and censorship on the part of big tech. Not only does big tech have the power to silence voices with which they disagree, but big tech likewise has the power to collate a person's feed so they only receive the news that comports with their own political agenda, Cruz said. I've been fearful of this for a while, that all I'm going to see is Democratic hubbub, they, these type of garbage on my news feeds. I haven't. I can tell you I have one friend that is like socialist Democrat, and when he posts something, I see it. But other than that, I'm subscribed to a few philosophical religious groups, and I see a whole bunch of race baiting stuff. But the whole talk about they want to cut down on hate speech, and that's their main thing, is cutting down on hate speech and hate groups. The whole nationalist, white nationalist thing. I mean, I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Don't get me wrong. I don't want there to be this narrative where you have this hate, whether it's white or not. But my thing is, if they're going to start censoring these people saying, I'm proud to be white, it's okay to be white, because, my people, it is okay to be white. It's okay, and I am proud to be a white man. But if they're going to start censoring that, but they're not going to start censoring people saying, I'm proud to be black, I'm proud to be Latin, I'm proud of this heritage, or even the fear and hate mongering that some, not all, but some black groups do and some Latin groups do. They're not going to censor that, and they're really just censoring white people. I have a bone to pick, along with many other folks. The Democrats sharply rebuked Cruz and his GOP allies for convening the hearing in the first place. For decades, Republicans have bashed the supposedly liberal mainstream media in an effort to work the rest, said Senator Mazie Hirono. Now that 2/3 of Americans get their news from social media, Republicans have a new boogeyman to target: big tech. That's what some Democrats are saying. I don't see it as being the big boogeyman. I mean, I've been watching different things and different folks getting banned and striked off of YouTube that have more of a conservative type of view, and which is super ironically funny, man. Like, I've always been in the middle. I haven't been left nor right. I've been independent, mainly because I just want to focus on policies that I agree with. And generally, when you go to the left, I don't agree with all of those. When you go to the right, I don't agree with all of those. But I always agreed more with Democrats in a lot of policies. But with Trump being elected, ironically, I took the red pill. I have been seeing so much nonsense that it doesn't make sense why these people are acting this way, which has veered me more towards Republican. And it's for the simple fact that there's so much violence and hatred and anti-people dividing type of crap that's going on that I'm just astonished that it's actually happening. And I was always for not having much government, which I guess is a right type of deal, but concentrated more with, I can't even say that. In all honesty, it sounds like I've always been a little bit more right, but there's some things I just wasn't always about, because I wasn't always for the rich staying rich, and that's all I saw Republicans being, as rich old people that pretty much bought the laws. But as I'm really seeing history unfold and becoming aware, acutely aware say it took me 30 years to actually start paying attention to politics, but as as I am becoming aware to the situation, it seems like the Democrats are really the crooked politicians that the rich people are buying the laws. I mean, if you're watching AOC and the Hillary speech impediment deal, okay, so I'm talking to a whole bunch of black folks, so now I'm going to start speaking a little bit more, I don't know, Southern. Now that happens to me after I've had too many drinks in a night, but that's just because I'm drunk. And if you ever see some random posts, just ignore them. They'll probably be deleted fairly shortly, alright? But Hirano and her Democratic peers chided Republicans for ignoring the real ills of social media, including the rise of hate speech and disinformation online. Back again, disinformation, white kids with the MAGA hat getting called racist, bigots, disinformation online, but they're not really concerned about that. They're concerned more about making babies seem like it should be a thing, and supporting the just, it seems like crazy nuances that shouldn't really be a big deal. I mean, I've grown up, I've known a lot of gay folks and stuff, and I've met a few good transvestites and stuff, and saying he or she, that never bothered them to that amount. I mean, if I knew that they wanted to be called he, I would say he. But I mean, if you got the wrong pronoun, no one's like going all crazy about it like they are now. And like they said, gender dysphoria, like Ben Shapiro says, and I never knew this until I heard him talk. It was a mental disorder, and people removed brains and castrated folks for a lot less than that 60 years ago. And so if it is considered a mental disorder, which I'm almost assuming it is, because I mean, it's not normal to remove your appendages, in my point of view. I mean, if you are attracted to the opposite sex, or the same sex, I mean, if you're attracted, like if I'm a dude and I want another dude, that's all groovy. But if I want to remove that dude part, it seems like there's something wrong in my head, because you're not happy with who you are. You could be content with who you are, with what you were born with, and be attracted to what you're attracted to. And if you're not attracted to yourself, it's like all those ladies getting the Botox and the facial reconstruction, the plastic surgery, the boobs, the butts. I mean, they're not happy with who they are. I don't agree with the self-mutilation when it comes to that, because I find natural women, no matter their flaws, a lot more beautiful than I do people trying to stay pretty forever, because it doesn't really ever work. They look worse and more plastic than when they began. And same goes for, people that like to dress up as the opposite sex. I say keep what you're naturally given, because it is reported that generally the same suicide rate goes whether you've had the op or you haven't had the op, and you're just not happy with yourself. You have to learn how to be content with who you are as a person. And by doing bodily damage like that, man, you're not happy with yourself. You need to go to a monastery or something, do some serious meditation, for real. And one of the witnesses Wednesday raised concern that Facebook and Google hadn't been aggressive enough in the ways they police their platforms. Robbie Parker, a parent of a child killed during the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, said Facebook and Google owned YouTube long and then had failed to stop conspiracy theorists and others from protecting him and his family. Now, I wouldn't say it's a conspiracy theorist. I wouldn't say it's the Alex Joneses talking about how he thinks Sandy Hook is a government red flag. That's his followers. Those are his fans. And those people kind of need to be looked at, because he's not the one calling for the violence. So really those people should be on somebody's radar anyways, because they're not right in the head. You're not just going to go around attacking random people like that if you're sane and if you're a sound mind. That's just insanity, and it's crazy, and those people need to be jailed. Those people need to be looked at and talked to and questioned, because those ones, the extreme ones, are the dangerous ones. I mean, yeah. They systematically fail to protect us from harassment and threats, Parker told lawmakers, later adding, only when they realized it would tarnish their brand and affect them financially did they finally respond appropriately. And in all honesty, when they're saying that, usually people with a following like that are not going to respond to every wingnut coming at them. They have so many people flooding their inboxes and stuff. You're nothing. You're a pissant. You're one of fucking thousands that day that have emailed them. They probably didn't even see your conversations. So it's nothing against you. I'm sure InfoWars and the company didn't want any threats, any death threats being given to you and your family, whether it was a tragedy or whether it wasn't a tragedy. It's just a simple fact that they're a pretty big corporation with a pretty big following, and I'm sure they receive a lot of hate. Yeah. Conservatives long have claimed that major social media sites exhibit political bias, pointing to Silicon Valley's liberal leanings and regular contributions to Democrats. Beyond that, however, experts have said there is no evidence that Facebook, Google, and Twitter have deliberately sought to limit the reach of Republicans, a message that tech giants in attendance on Wednesday emphasized. The notion that we would silence any political perspective is, I think that's supposed to say, unethical to our commitment to free expression, said Carlos Monge, Jr., the Director of Public Policy and Philanthropy for the U.S. and Canada at Twitter. But tech executives' continued pledges to treat all political content equally have failed to sway the country's most prominent Republicans, including President Trump, who repeatedly has claimed that Facebook, Google, and Twitter are biased against the party. In March, Trump accused the industry of harboring hatred for a certain group of people that happen to be in power, that happen to have won the election. As an example, Trump has pointed to his follower count on Twitter, which he said tends to fluctuate, a fact Twitter has attributed to its efforts to shut down spam accounts on the platform. Still, Trump last month reiterated his threat for further scrutiny, telling reporters the government has to do something about it. Opening the Wednesday hearing, Cruz detailed a series of potential regulatory steps Congress could consider, including rethinking a long-standing federal law that spares companies from being held liable for content posted by users. Cruz said lawmakers didn't seek to serve as government speech police, but he raised the potential for further antitrust scrutiny of the tech industry. By almost any measure, the giant tech companies today are larger and more powerful than Standard Oil was when it was broken up, Cruz said. And if we have tech companies using the powers of monopoly to censor political speech, I think that raises real antitrust issues. Cruz and his peers pointed to instances in which Facebook and Twitter erroneously applied its politics to conservative content, resulting in pro-life ads of tweets being removed from these social media sites. One of the tweets Cruz displayed and claimed had been blocked from the president of Susan B. Anthony list claimed that abortion is profoundly anti-woman, accompanied by a quotation from Mother Teresa, but a tweet from 2017 containing the same text and image still appeared on Twitter after a search Wednesday. A spokesman for Cruz did not immediately respond to requests for comment about the tweet. In another example, GOP Senator Marsha Blackburn highlighted a 2017 controversy in which one of her campaign's ads had been briefly barred by Twitter. The company later said it had been mistaken and repeated its apology Wednesday. In doing so, Facebook and Twitter emphasized they had taken action in response to controversial content posted by Democrats and Republicans alike. I can tell you we have actions account on both sides of this debate, Monty said. Absent from the Wednesday hearing was Google, the search giant, which owns YouTube. I mean, I can't say that the corporation entity itself wants to silence Republicans. I'm sure they want an open discussion, an open platform, same thing with YouTube. But when you have these extremists on both sides, and since I do gear more towards Republican conservative type of commentary, I don't see anything else popping up. Like, I watched some Young Turk videos and I was kind of disgusted with what I saw, not with everything, but with some of the stuff, and they started popping up a little bit. But in all honesty, I see a lot more people saying that YouTube and Facebook is shutting them down than them actually being shut down. So I don't know. I'm up in the air for discussion. I don't see a lot of Democratic stuff. I can't stand it. I can't stomach it a lot of the times hearing the stuff. The SJW stuff, it just To me, it really does. It makes me cringe. Sitting there saying we should listen to our thoughts or our emotions over facts, and about certain things, about how Donald Trump is Hitler and how he has all the rhetoric of Hitler, even though they're claiming that they're pretty much socialists as well. They want a socialist type of entity like what Hitler had, where they want to regulate my free speech. They do. They want to stop it. You clearly see that. Certain the younger generation, certain ones in the younger generation actually want to stop that. And that, to me, is freaking scary. Alright, this has been Dave signing out. Bye.